Title screens are important. When you buy a brand new game, download it to your rusty old hard drive, wait for it to install and boot it up, there is going to be only one thing in the way between you and your next countless amount of hours of fun. No, not the copyright gibble. No, not the logo. Okay, stop being smart. You know what I mean. It's this. The title screen. It's not an understatement to say that these are genuinely some of my favorite bits of a video game. That's right, not the gameplay, the actual thing you spend most of the time doing, but the little 30 seconds of scenery with a PNG of the logo just strapped on like boom, there. Why is it important though? Well, a couple of reasons. Title screens kind of feel like the developer's pitch for the game, whilst also acting as a way to draw you in and motivate you to smash A until you're in the game. And they've been doing this right from the very start. Back in an era where games sucked doo-doo, Super Mario Bros. Launched straight in with a bright, colourful world and that chippy main theme. I don't know about you, but I really want to press start and play right now. What the hell? A lot of games on the NES did this. Most of them just gave you some cool music and some cool pictures to look at, but some games were smart. Even in the primitive 8-bit days, games like Mega Man 2 gave us this sweet and charming melody with a bit of exposition. Then, the music picks up, the camera begins to pan up the tower, and we get excited. We see Mega Man and then boom! Just like that, hook, line, and sinker, I want to play the game. Most games on the NES were very action-orientated with their title screens, which was a leftover from the arcade days where they screamed, "Play me! Put money in my machine or I'll die!" Oh, thank you. But then you have games like Metroid, which just completely transcend the barrier of the system's limitations. Most game title screens were like this. Metroid's is this. Oh, I'm kind of scared. This is kind of spooky. Guys, what the hell? This is really spooky. The first thing you see of Metroid is this barren landscape in space accompanied by this eerie and scary track. That's the pitch for the game. But then it just kind of goes sicko mode with the action, but that's okay, whatever. The SNES comes around and developers stop being stupid and realize that they can actually be a little creative with their title screens. And we just gotta bring it back to Metroid for a second. If you thought the NES original was clever, I am about to blow your stupid little 8 brain. Super Metroid opens up with another chilling score, but we get these camera pans over these unidentified objects before cutting to black and some text. We then slowly zoom out and boom, a Metroid. The music changes, and we know, like the first game, we're kinda fucked. Uh-oh. And unlike the original Metroid, the title screen more accurately matches the gameplay. It can be spooky, exhilarating, terrifying, and at all times is so inspired by movies like Alien. But if we're talking about mad creative title screens, we've got to touch on Earthbound. It has a mood swing like nothing else. First, you get this horrifying static image of a dystopian reality where a suburb is being destroyed by UFOs. Ah! But then you've got the actual title, morphing in a weird manner, just like the rest of the game. And then it cuts to this almost American sitcom-like opening credits of the gang. Like, what? This paints a clear picture. This game is going to be weird, and it's also really inspired by American pop culture. Sometimes title screens are just whatever. I love Super Mario World as much as the next guy, but a demo of Mario running around isn't nearly as exciting as they think it is. Especially when in Mario 3 we've got this little animatic of Mario and Luigi running around and it's like a theater performance. Like, that's so cool. The saving grace of bad title screens is their music. For example, F-Zero is a very exciting game, but I don't think you'd quite get that impression from the title screen. It doesn't quite lull you in. But Super Tennis, for example, guys, this shit sucks. They probably made this in like 20 minutes, but listen to that music. Oh yeah, I love tennis. Oh my god, I love tennis. Guys, I love tennis now. Then of course, on the other end of the spectrum, we have title screens with no style and with awful music. I genuinely have nothing to say about this. Anyways, let's jump straight into the N64 and the wacky world of three-dimensional gaming. Whoa. While the previous Mario games have kind of been whatever with their title screens, Super Mario 64 starts with Mario's 3D head literally popping out in front of you like, hi guys! And of course, you can grab him and morph him around, and even just that, just caressing and stretching his ear is enough to blow your stupid little kid brain. It's like Nintendo is yelling, hey you're an idiot 5-year-old in the 90s and we're gonna fucking blow your mind with this Mario head, and then also we're gonna completely shatter your tiny little idiot brain by adding a third dimension and forever changing the way you perceive digital traversal. And we're gonna make the entire thing fun. But anyway, here's a head, play around with it, you idiot. And what I think is particularly genius is that the music we hear is a remix of the original Mario theme, giving reassurance to the player that this is the same old Mario you know and love. Okay, I would really quickly just like to point out that I've gone a very long time without talking about The Legend of Zelda. So we will now be talking about The Legend of Zelda. Thank you. This is my favorite title screen of all time. It's just perfect. For a game that's so adventurous, so triumphant and action-packed, it's such a bold choice that the opening title is anything but. We get the quiet gallops of Epona riding across the horizon as this beautiful set of piano chords play. Nothing exciting happens. It's just Link and Epona trotting about the place. But there's just something so magical about this quiet before the storm. Now, where's the pitch that you were talking about, Snug Boy? Well, I think at this point in the timeline, developers realized they didn't really need to pitch to you as much anymore, because you've already bought the game. They've got your money, you idiot. Now it's about selling a certain mood or theme, and Ocarina of Time absolutely nails the feeling of what you're about to experience is going to be so special and magical. In fact, all of Zelda's title screens have been fantastic. Zelda 1 kind of evokes the same feeling as Ocarina of Time. It's just a waterfall, but the music strikes this feeling that you're taking the first steps of an epic journey. Zelda 2? Deja vu! Then, with A Link to the Past, we get this mind-boggling 3D effect. Wow, how did they do that? We see the Triforce coming together, which builds and builds before BAM! Oh! This is going to be a good game, isn't it? Of course, I just mentioned Ocarina of Time, but what I think is great is that the other N64 Zelda, Majora's Mask, elaborates on this thematic showcase with its intro. We get this horribly wicked noise as Majora's Mask hurtles towards us before fading in on the happy mask salesman and this creepy laugh. Ugh. Then we see Clock Down. Its sleepy melody begins to wake, and we are shown the people of the town doing regular people stuff. That sounds boring, but it really drives home the core aspects of this game. Termina is full of just real people living real lives, which is rudely interrupted by... In this intro, you're given a sense of the town you're in, plus the great big threat. Now you know what you need to save and what to save it from, and the general tone the game's going to take. It's just so well thought out and so brilliant. And then Wind Waker is just like, oh, I'm on an island, look, that's pretty cool, isn't it? To be fair, there is a nice shot of Link looking out, longing for adventure, but I don't know, I just don't think it fits the theme of the game, especially when we compare it to Big Brother, My King, Twilight Princess, I love you! Harking back to A Link to the Past, we get this musical movement that starts with a quiet choir that builds and builds as Link and Epona ride through this gorgeous landscape. As the music crescendos, Epona darts off screen, and when we catch up to them, Link is now a wolf and he howls at the great big barrier of Twilight, and what do we hear? It's Midna. It's mid game. Guys, the game's about Midna. Again, it's such a shame we go from that to Skyward Sword, which is just the sky. Okay. But at least it's better than Breath of the Wild's fucking PowerPoint slideshow of Jesus Christ, really? Really? This is one of the things I loved about Age of Calamity. The title screen has this really somber melody on a guitar as we overlook Ashika Tower and the world we're desperately trying to protect. And then when you press start, we zoom in and the music picks up and it's just so sick. Okay, maybe that's enough about Zelda, but I'll be back. At some point between the N64 and today, developers realized that they could make their title screens begin to tell the story of their world. Halo is one of the best. Of course, you have that super iconic theme, but you get these nice shots of the Halo itself. It's still such a cool concept, a world on a ring that is actually a universe-destroying weapon. Like, Bungie, calm down, leave some cool world-building sci-fi shit to the rest of us. One of my favorites in this gist is, of course, Xenoblade Chronicles, which I didn't mention in the last video. It's really simple at first glance, just an empty field with a Monado sticking out, but it's the music that makes it worthwhile. It starts out lovely, then goes sad, and then suddenly picks up, and every time I hear this bit, I can't help thinking about traveling this gigantic world on this epic adventure. And what's really cool about this title screen, apart from the time changing and the Monado emitting a cool light, that's so cool, is that after you finish the story, it's given this new symbolic meaning, which of course I won't spoil, but it's so freaking cool. But if you haven't finished the story, sucks to be you.
We ordered room service an hour ago.
Come on, this is what you're missing out on. Come on.
Valve had this super unique concept for a while with their title screens, which is where they change depending on where you were up to in the game. For instance, in Half-Life 2, it starts out with City 17, the desolate city, but as you escape on the boat, you see a snippet of that, or a Ravenholm, or whatever. They mastered this in my opinion with Portal 2, which follows the same concept, but just has these beautifully constructed shots of a broken GLaDOS, or a conveyor belt factory, or Wheatley Laboratories, or whatever. It's great. Some developers realized though that they could help add spice and excitement to their games by putting a little movie beforehand. You'll see this in lots of games, but the king has to be, of course, Super Smash Bros. In the original, we get this super cute introduction of a hand pulling these toys on a table and then bringing them to life. Then out of nowhere, we get this super stylized introduction of all the characters, which ends in this super hardcore stare-off between Mario and Kirby, and then that iconic line. so good. It can't be beat in my opinion. Okay, it can be beat. This is the perfect intro, the perfect music, the perfect shots, the perfect character moments. I can't state how perfect this is, and it always gives me goosebumps. And you gotta remember, this is the first time we saw a lot of these characters in pretty good looking 3D. Imagine being an Earthbound fan, some niche JRPG, and then getting to see this. Like, that would have been mind-blowing. Brawl goes for a similar approach, but it uses clips from the cutscenes of the story mode, so it feels more like a fan edit. But in Super Smash Bros. For 3DS, there isn't an intro. But in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, if you thought the last one was a fan edit, then this is some crappy AMV, bro. What? You guys know I love Shulk and I would do anything for him. But why does the intro open on him? This celebration of all things video games opens on Shulk? Why? And I really don't like the Smash 4 theme. I don't know why. Maybe because I heard it so much in the directs, maybe because it just sucks, I don't know. On a brighter note, however, I really like Ultimate's musical theme, and I think the intro is way better. And I like how it's pretty much all in-game footage. It looks really good. But basically my point was there that games could have little movies beforehand to make them more interesting. These are usually whatever, but one of the funniest I think is with Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic is a franchise which I love because it can be so hilariously bad.
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
I mean, you go from these games, which are full of energy and sass, and then suddenly, metal and people dying, and bro, what is going on? And my favorite thing is that when the movie ends and we get to the actual title screen, why are you so hardcore? Sonic had this hardcore metal vibe for ages. You would get into any game and your ears would just explode at the volume of these over-the-top metal tracks, which just tonally do not fit with the games. I can't not mention Shadow the Hedgehog, which is just so over-the-top ridiculous. He has a gun, he has a motorcycle, and this just banging heavy metal track plays. Like, oh, why? And the icing on the cake is, of course, the sound that plays when you select anything. It's a gunshot, because of course it is. Good title screens, lazy title screens, bad title screens. They're all something small and memorable that most people skip over, but me being me, I obsess over them, because I'm an idiot. When I find a good one, I just fall absolutely in love, and it helps me fall in love and appreciate a game further. But what about you guys? Do you have any favorites? Let me know down in the comments below. And I don't know, like the video and subscribe. And maybe tell your friends about me, and follow me on Twitter, and watch my weekly streams every Saturday at 8 AM Australian Eastern Daylight Time, and have a fantastic day! Idiot.